All right, now we're on to Jonah 1:2. What we're trying to do is we're just trying to learn the consonants, these letters. They're mostly consonants. We're not worrying right now. We're going to go back in our next unit and we'll learn the vowels underneath, the dots. But right now we're just trying to learn the letters of the alphabet. So we learned the letters in Jonah 1:1. Now we're going to learn the letters in Jonah 1:2, and then the next video I'm going to go through the alphabet systematically. So don't feel like I've got all these random letters, but I don't have them systematized. Don't worry. Breathe slowly. We're going to take a second and do the Aleph, Beit, Gimel, Dalet in the next video. But for now, let's go ahead and do some letters. This is a kof. Now I don't think we've had a kof yet. We didn't have a kof. It's like a Q. Except it's kof. It's like the top of your mouth, kof. This is a vav, but it has a dot in it. That's something different, but I'm going to discipline myself and not tell you what it is. But it is a vav. So we have kof, vav. What's that? This is a final mem. If you remember from Jonah 1:1, there was one letter for nun. Here's nun when it's the first letter, or nun looks like this when it's the middle letter. But what we learned in Jonah 1:1, that there's a different form for nun when it's the last letter of a word. It's the same with the letter M or mem. And so in the previous video in Jonah 1:1, we learned the form of mem when it's at the beginning or the middle of a word. This is the form of mem when it's at the end of a word. It's almost like a square, it's a square M. So this word is pronounced kum, all right? Kof, vav, mem. Now this is, remember what letter that is? What is it? It's got the quaff on the top, the nice Elvis hairdo. It's a lamed. So that's L. And then this is a final kaf. So kaf is a K. Kaf has one form when it's at the beginning or middle of a word, but it's like you pull the bottom out. You pull it down, the bottom of it down, for the final kaf. And so that's a K. So lake. So it's kum lake. Come, go. Or I'm sorry, arise, go. I'll show you the translation in a second. El, I believe we saw this in verse 1. It means two. This is a what? It's an aleph. And this is a what? It's a lamed. So El. Now, that's what letter? Nun. What's that letter? Yod. What's that letter again? Nun. What's that letter again? Vav, or wow, if you want to go with the W sound. What's that letter? Hey, what the hey? Okay, so we have Nineveh. Nineveh. Can you guess what word that is? Nineveh. Nineveh. Or if you did the W if you did the Vav as a W, it'd be Nineveh. So we have Kum Lake El Nineveh. Arise, go to Nineveh. All right, we had most of those letters before. The one that's new is the kof, the final mem, and the final kaf. All right. Okay, so don't worry. There are only, I think, 4 letters where the beginning form is different from the final form. And we've already had 3 of them. The nun does that, the mem does that, and the kaf does that. So the M, N, and K, K, M, N, they do a different form for the final letter than they do when it's in the beginning or the middle. So Kum Lake El Nineveh. So then we have, what letter is that? Hey. Another new letter. This is an ayin. You can just say ayin, but it's a glottal stop. My Hebrew professor in seminary called it the sound of incipient vomiting. It actually is more about constricting the sound. So ha-ear. Anyway, I'm not saying it well, probably, but anyway, this is an ayin. So hey, ayin. What's that? Yod. What's that? Resh. So ha'ir, the city. Okay, what letter is this again? It's a hey. Another new letter. Looks like a big old shoe. It's heels, right? It's a Gimel. It's a G. So it's the 3rd letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Interesting, Hebrew doesn't go ABC, it goes ABG. Aleph, Beit, Gimel. Actually, that's not even A. Aleph is not an A. Here's the Aleph. It's not an A. Actually, this is a light glottal stop. Ayin is a heavy glottal stop. Aleph is a light glottal stop. So this is L, and then this is ear. Anyway, nobody talks like that. Well, maybe actual Hebrew speakers in Jerusalem talk a little bit that way. But El, Nineveh, Ha, ear is fine. So Gimel is a new one. Ha, G. Do we have this letter? I think we did. What is it? It's a Dalet. And then this is what letter? It's a Vav. And then this is what letter? It's a Lamed. And then this is what letter? It's a Hey. So Hagadolah is how you pronounce this. The city, the great. Notice that it doesn't, in English we would say the great city. But in Hebrew you say the city, the great. More on that to come. All right, so Vav again. Kof again. We had a Kof here, and we have a Kof here. What letter is that? It's a Resh. What letter is that? It's an Aleph. What letter? We just had this. It was back here. What was it? Oh, I can't remember. Ayin. Alan. Anybody seen that YouTube video? Not important. All right. Lamed with the Qaf. Yod. What's this? Hey. Okay, so putting it all together, we have Kum Lake El Nineveh, Ha'ir Hagadolah, U Kara Aleha. Okay, what does it mean? Well, just if you're curious, it's arise, go to Nineveh, the city, the great, that is the great city, and call upon her, call to her. Let's keep going. What, we haven't seen this letter before. Well, we have, but this is kaf at the beginning or middle of a word. So we had a final kaf here, and then this is a initial kaf. So as an initial kaf, it kind of looks like a backwards C. But for the final, we grab a hold of this and pull it down, and we get this final kaf. So beginning kaf, final kaf. Yod, so this is ki. Makef is not a letter, it's a dash, just a dash. What letter is that again? We've seen it twice. Ayin. And this is a Lamed. Have we seen this one before? I think we saw this letter in the first unit. This is a Tav. Actually, the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Interesting that Hebrew doesn't go from A to Z. It goes from Aleph to Tav. And the Aleph is not really an A. It's a glottal stop. And then the Tav is a T, the final letter. There is a Z sound, by the way, in Hebrew, the Zion. But more about that in the alphabet video. What letter is this? It's a Hey. So ki alatah, or is that a final? See, ki alatah, I think. All right. So arise, go, that went up. Ra'atam lefanai. All right. This is what letter? Resh. This is what letter? Ayin. This is what letter? Tav. This is what letter? We had it up here. Final mem. This is what letter? Lamed. Okay, here's a letter I don't think we've had before. This is a Pei. So it's a P sound. As we'll see in a moment in the next couple videos, when it doesn't have the dot in it, this dot here, it's pronounced F. I'll systematize that in the next couple videos. But so it's P when it has the dot. It's F when it doesn't have the dot. But the letter is Pei. It also has a different final form, but I'll tell you about that in the alphabet video. What letter is this? It's a Nun. What letter is this? It's a Yod. So again, all the letters are Kof, Vav, Mem, Lamed, Kaf, Aleph, Lamed, Nun, Yod, Nun, Vav, Hey, Hey, Ayin, Yod, Resh, Hey, Gimel, Dalet, Vav, Lamed, Hey, Vav, Kof, Resh, Aleph, Ayin, Lamed, Yod, Hey, Kaf, Yod, Ayin, Lamed, Tav, Hey, Resh, Ayin, Tav, Mem, Lamed, Pei, Nun, Yod. And the pronunciation is Kum, lake, el, Nineveh. Nineveh. Ha'ir, ha-gadolah, u-kara, aleka, ki, al-latah, ra'atam, le-fanai. Okay, and the translation is, arise, go to Nineveh, the city, the great city. And call upon her, tell her that went up their wickedness. Their wickedness has gone up before me. God is basically saying, I've noticed you guys are pretty evil. So there you have Jonah 1:2. Again, you don't need to know the translation. You don't need to know the vowels. The goal is to know the letters and have some basic sense of pronunciation, not a full sense of pronunciation because we haven't learned everything yet. So again, Kum, lake, el, Nineveh, ha'ir, ha-gadolah, u-kara, aleka, aleha, ki, aletah, ra'atam, le-fanai. Okay, next video, I'm going to systematize the whole alphabet for you. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet. You've now seen almost all the letters. We're going to fill in the gaps in the next video. And the game is afoot. Hebrew, you're doing it. You're learning biblical Hebrew.